into DodgerHeads presented by DodgerBlue.com. My name is Jeff Spiegel, joined today by Daniel Starkand, another in our series of free agency preview videos. And today we are talking about Max Scherzer, one of the best pitchers in baseball, not eligible for a qualifying offer, so was not extended one, only spent half of the season with the Dodgers, but obviously didn't necessarily end on a positive note, unable to pitch in the NLCS in the start, his due start in the NLCS. And so, Daniel, as we approach the Max Scherzer conversation, is this a priority, or was this a, hey, you know what, it was nice while we had you, but now we're moving on?
I mean, I guess it depends on what other moves they make. Like, I know starting pitching as a whole will definitely be a priority. Like, as of now, they really only have Buehler, Julio, and Gonsolin. And then, like, you got other guys like Mitch White, Andre Jackson, who, if you need a fifth starter, that I guess they could be that. But in an ideal world, they're more depth pieces. And then your top prospects like Pepio and Bobby Miller and such are probably still at least a half a year to a year away. So you definitely need to add starting pitching this winter, and Max Scherzer is the best available. Like, coming off the season he had, especially after coming over to the Dodgers, he was incredible before getting a little hurt in the NLCS there, which I'd say that injury isn't really concerning. Like, it wasn't like a serious thing. It was just he was just kind of sore because he threw that game 5 against the Giants, which it was great beating the Giants, but looking back, we've talked about this plenty of times, probably wasn't the best idea to use him there. But with that being said, I still think Max Scherzer has good years left in him. Like, overall this season, he was outstanding. I know he's 37, 38, whatever he is, but feel like he's like kind of a unique case of a guy at that age who's still, I wouldn't say getting better, but still pitching at a very high, like a Cy Young type level. So I know Max is going to get paid a lot this winter. I know there's going to be a lot of teams after him, and that might price him out of the Dodgers range, but I definitely think they should try to re-sign him just because there's so many question marks in the starting rotation.
It's funny because one of our other conversations is Clayton Kershaw, who's heading into his age 34 year with injury problems, whereas you have Scherzer, who's age 38, heading into his age 38 year, and he's made 30 starts basically every season of his career. I think except for 2019 and the shortened 2020, he has made 30 starts every single time. He posted a career best in ERA last year, 2.46. The strikeout rate was down slightly. The walk rate, though, was one of the best of his career. And so then the question just becomes dollars and how many years. So, I've seen numbers thrown out.
Right.
I think somebody threw out like $3 and $120 million for Scherzer, 2 for 72. Somewhere people are thinking he's going to be in the 35-ish million dollar range. And so for the Dodgers, it's a fascinating conversation because, in case you don't remember, they do have a guy under contract who makes about the same amount of money, who plays the same position. The difference being one of those players is going to pitch. One of those players will never pitch for the Dodgers ever again, period. And that's Trevor Bauer. And so part of this conversation is, do the Dodgers have an ability to get out of Bauer's money from a luxury tax perspective? Now, he has opted into his deal. And so we know that he is going to get a $35 million check from the Dodgers. The question is, if he were to be suspended, then the Dodgers could theoretically take his money off of their luxury tax payroll and then replace it with a guy like Scherzer. In your mind, is Scherzer signing with the Dodgers entirely dependent on what happens with Trevor Bauer?
I mean, I wouldn't say entirely, just because it depends on other moves as well. Like, if they go give Corey Seager $300 million, then I don't know if they're giving Max Scherzer 3 years, 120, or like whatever you were saying. Like, Max is going to get paid a lot, but I definitely think if you're able to get out of that Bauer money, that definitely makes it easier to re-sign Scherzer. Obviously, they play the same position. They're starting pitchers.
Yeah.
They're both really good. I'd say Scherzer is better. Not that even matters, because Bauer's not going to be pitching for the Dodgers. But I'd say if you would have given me the choice between the two, I'd take Scherzer. And, I think it's obviously a no-brainer. Like, if you're able to get out of that, there's definitely different ways you could allocate that money. Like, you could go and give out, 3 guys each a third of the contract, essentially, and then you have a little more depth probably, but you don't have that high-end talent. Me personally, I'm a fan of the high-end talent. Like, I'd rather just give it all to Scherzer, have a 1, 2, 3 of Scherzer, Buehler, Julio again, and we'll figure out the back half of the rotation later, knowing that we got 3 just absolute studs at the top. But I definitely think it's probably, I don't know when this Bauer stuff's going to get sorted out. It may be a while, which may which may not give the Dodgers even the ability to match money with Scherzer compared to what other teams are going to offer. Like, I don't know if Max is going to want to sign right away, wait for the new CBA, maybe sign later in the offseason, wait for this Bauer stuff to sort out. But I definitely think if the Dodgers can get out of that money, then I'd say that the odds of them re-signing Scherzer
and it is good news. I mean, when
skyrockets.
Scherzer was available for trade, he made clear that he wanted to play on the West Coast. He liked the warmer weather, and also that he wanted to play for a contender. So right off of the bat. Now, does he require staying on the West Coast? Would he go back to Washington, D.C. if that were an option? Who knows? But I think at least the Dodgers check the boxes of what he's interested in. By all accounts, he enjoyed playing there. The Dodgers theoretically could have the money. And so I do think they benefit from the fact that the CBA is going to expire on December 1st. Most people think there will be some sort of a work stoppage, and that could buy the Dodgers time because they would benefit if that gives MLB some extra time to sort out the Trevor Bauer situation. Now, could they do that during a lockout, or would they have too much on their plate already? Remains to be seen. But let me ask you one last question. You hinted at, hey, the arm troubles in the postseason, not worried about that at all. Yes, he's an older guy, but this came about because he was asked to pitch on short rest, pitch out of the bullpen, et cetera, et cetera. So you don't seem concerned about that long term. Would you go 3 years on Max Scherzer? Like, if that's what it required, if you had to pay him 3 years at $35 million a year, would you give him that third year at that number?
Yeah, I probably would. And let me be clear, like I'd say there's not much of concern about that specific issue he was dealing with. I'd say there is a little bit concern just about injury in general. Like when you talk about a guy who's 38 that's pitched as many innings as he has, like there's gonna be some concerns there. So in a perfect world, you'd get him for 2 years because I definitely think he's got one more elite year left in him, then maybe like another pretty good year after that, and then who knows in the third year. But I'd say if you sign him for 3 years, like you could live with that. Like let's get 2 good years, and then if the third one's not great, like we could live with that, knowing that we're in our championship window right now. Like I don't know, the Dodgers are going to have a lot more guys to pay down the road, and I don't know if they're going to be able to keep them all. So I don't want to say they're all in, but in a sense, like let's maximize this window with these guys. And if 3 years down the line, if we're paying Scherzer $35 million or whatever, and he's not producing, like we could live with that, knowing that we went for it all to win a World Series in 2022 and 2023, and obviously it helps if you get one there. But I'd say 3 years is probably the most I'd go. I think anything after that, like I don't want to. Paying a 42-year-old Max Scherzer $30 to $35 million or whatever, that seems a bit steep. But I could
see
live
that. Now
with 3
that's
years,
why Daniel
I'd say.
gets paid the big bucks. Did you see that? He wants to maximize the next 3 years of the Dodgers by signing Max Scherzer. Did you see what he did there? I mean, that's true greatness right there. So prediction time. I'll put you on the spot. Is Max Scherzer back with the Dodgers next year? Yes or no?
I wish I knew how the Bauer stuff's gonna play out before answering this, but I'll say as of now.
Okay, I'm guessing yes
I would guess
on
no.
Max Scherzer. So let us know below. What do you think? 3 years, is that too much? Are you worried about the arm injury? Where does he rank on your priority of free agents? We appreciate it as always. That's Daniel Starkand. My name is Jeff Spiegel. Check out Dodger Blue 1958 on social media. Dodger Blue 1958 on YouTube. Ring the notification bell and subscribe. We appreciate you. We'll see you next time.
The best team holding a trophy high in the air. The Los Angeles Dodgers, champions of the baseball world.